Hey, what's up, family? How are you doing? I'm hoping that you're doing great from whatever you're watching me from. I'm your host and presenter, Debunking Stories. Now, this is something that I want us to talk about. You understand that for the past 1 week, we have had the issue with the Somali case. Mr. Donald Trump just deported the Somalis. But what turns out is not about the deportation, because it revealed a lot of things that black people have been confirming, or black people have been saying. Remember, black people have been trying to talk to people so that they can come together and solve the problems in the United States. The common enemy was Mr. Donald Trump, right? But it is not like black people didn't want to help the Somalis, but it is the attitude that the Somalis have been giving the black Americans for the longest time. Remember, when a person comes and tells you that they are not black and they don't want to associate with anything to do with blackness, right? And this shows you that they are not resonating with the struggles that usually happens to the black Americans of the United States. And so when a problem comes to them, that's when they understand that the black unity is so much important. I think we've seen a couple of videos where Somalis are openly denying that they are no black people. And also, black people have been trying to fight for themselves, the struggles, what they've been going through. But right now, they're trying to call black people to come to their rescue. But guess what? Black people has a message to them. And black people are saying this to them because right now, they are desperately calling black people to come and help them. Some of them are crying. Some of them have been deported back at home. But they are crying for help, trying to talk to black people to at least lobby for them so that they can get back to the United States. But guess what? This is not black Americans fight. So brothers and sisters, I just want to get into the video and then I'll be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. I'm your number one host and presenter, Debunking Stories, and let's get into it. I'll be back with my thoughts and commentaries in regards to this. So let's get into it.
I don't know if y'all heard, but the Somalians are in an uproar, girl. They coming at the black people. What the fuck you want us to do? Because historically, black people are the only people who fought consistently and still are fighting for a fucking seat at the table with no help from any motherfucking body else. Let's make that abundantly clear, okay? People come here thinking that they are going to have a proximity to the goddamn people in power and not realizing that the people in power don't give a damn. Don't give a fuck about you and your condition. The black people told you that. We told you this. Why? Why did we tell you this? Because this is our lived experience. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying everybody's a bad guy. But what I am saying is, historically, come on now, let's look at the facts. The facts are the facts. It has happened for years and years and years and years. I don't know if y'all remember, but in the year where this administration was elected into office, the Somalians stood up there and endorsed the current administration. So now you want us to give a damn, bitch? And you weren't on our team? Something seems off, girl. I fear the call is coming from inside of the house.
Listen, Linda, for all the goddamn Somalians that are pissed off of me for making the post that I made, y'all have an in-house problem. Why are y'all mad at black folks? I really want to know. Why y'all mad at us? What the fuck did we do? What y'all should be doing is getting in the field with your own fucking people and the people that actually voted for him. Knock on some goddamn doors. Have a fucking community meeting and figure that shit out. Y'all sitting up here laughing like, so we U.S. citizens. So what the fuck does that mean? Do you not see ICE running down the goddamn street chasing U.S. citizens, handcuffing them, putting them in the back of shit, shipping their asses off? Yeah, they gonna come back, but you gonna be fucking terrorized first. The whole point is to harass you. It's not to deport you, because he knows he can't. Instead of getting mad at black folks for calling the shit out, because we did our fucking job at the polls, okay? We did our job. You need to be arguing with the folks that voted for him, because there's no reason he should be able to say anything to y'all. Y'all should all be standing 10 toes down. Not getting on the news and saying, Wigs are us, we voted for you. Don't do this to us. Yes, I saw that. Look, y'all got an in-house issue like the Latinos did. Figure that shit out. Get in the field. Start fighting. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. The ones that voted for him, they not just coming after them. They coming after all of y'all. One apple will spoil the whole fucking bunch. I'm seeing in some of my comment sections that saying, oh, that's why we not black. That's why we don't claim being black. Oh, we know. Because he didn't say he was trying to deport black folks.
Look, after hearing what that man said about the Somalis in Minnesota, I just got to say, some of y'all needed to learn this lesson the hard way. Y'all didn't want to believe that black Americans knew what we were talking about. You did not want to believe that. A lot of people have come to this country from different parts of the world, and the first thing they do in order to assimilate to American culture is adopt the mentality that black Americans are just complaining and not trying to warn people who is in charge and how they feel about anybody that is not of a certain flavor. Y'all always say stuff like, I just gotta work hard enough, get the right education, I gotta behave a certain way. That is why these people are struggling. And as long as I don't act like them, I will not be in danger. And there's really no other way to explain it, That's how you feel. You teach your kids to think that way, all right? And it literally takes for them to say what that man said in order for you to start understanding that we were trying to warn you this whole time. That man literally said they're garbage. He said they're garbage and we don't want them in this country. But you know what's crazy? You know what's really crazy? You heard that one man say on CNN, they'll still vote Republican. They'll still vote alongside these people. I can't explain it, but they will absolutely keep trying to appeal to their abusers. Because at the end of the day, the sickness that I really believe has been, bred here in America is that sickness of convenience. And for some reason, it is more convenient to do everything you can to appeal to these people that don't want you here than actually take a stand and vote alongside or speak alongside or stand hand in hand, arm in arm with the same individuals who they are oppressing. Because what you really want is your shot at the top. That's what a lot of people really want. They want their shot at the top. It doesn't really, solidarity, all that stuff, they're not interested. It's like, call me crazy, but the longer Trump 2.0 goes on, I'm starting to think that the only group that did not vote with inherent selfishness and inherent cruelty was black Americans. I would like to live in a different country now. Honestly, I'm kind of sick of this fever dream that we call America.
What I'm witnessing right now with the Somalians out there in Minnesota and all the issues that they're dealing with Trump and deportation, is a prime example. Their response to it is a prime example of why FBAs call black immigrants tethers. I'm sorry, I'm not one to use that word, but I can see what they mean, because the tether means to attach yourself to something. And right now I see a lot of Somalians who have never considered themselves black attaching themselves to black Americans as a way of deflecting what's happening to them and saying like, oh, we're all black and he's doing the same thing to us because we're black, just like black Americans. Listen to this.
President Trump and the base that is attacking our community. We understand that you are here to divide us, to create fear amongst us, and to selectively target the blackest immigrant and Muslim community in this great state. President Trump has had a history of targeting black people long before he ever ran for any office.
Yeah, Trump targeted black people. We all know that. But when y'all came here to this country, black people was like, oh, good, with more black people, come with us. And we tried to show you what it was like here. We tried to explain to you what was going on, and we were rejected. Like, let's not rewrite history. I know what happened. Y'all made your own communities. Y'all said you had your own culture, separate from us. So now that you're in trouble, you want to claim blackness? You want to say that Trump already was targeting black people? Us? He wasn't targeting you then. You're not black, right? Like, it's a tether. That's a tether. That right there. If you ever wondered what a tether was, that.
This Somalian lays out everything about the scams that's going on in the Somalian community.
There are truth we have not been saying out loud. Number one, go to Somali malls. Cash only, no receipts. That's sus. We gotta say that out loud. Number two, Somali tax accountants. They say, oh, you have no tax today. That's sus. We gotta call that out. What? Yeah, Somali trucking companies cutting corners. That's sus. Let's not do that. Appreciate that. Let me keep going. Yeah, helping each other lie on forms. Like it's some sort of community service we're doing to each other. What? Yeah, and recently I just saw a Somali sheriff, police officer, saying that he only serves the Somali community. What?
A culture of scamming. He said it, not me. Your boy said it. So he just walked us through it, right? They cook in the books, lying on the taxes. It makes sense because they only accept cash only, so they could play with the numbers. Like there's nothing to document the transactions that's happening at these stores. Then he's exposing what's going on in Minnesota with the falsifying the documentations. Oh, we help each other lie on these documents. He said that, and the trucking business that they have going on. And these scams are not just only happening in Minnesota, but nationwide. You look at Columbus, Ohio is one, Maine recently, and then he pulled in the law enforcement, which is interesting because you have these people, once they get into positions of power, they're not going to check each other, right? They're not going to check each other like, oh, let's slide that through. So he's trying to hold his community accountable. But that's just one person.
Keep you here in America so you won't get kicked out like some of these immigrants are getting kicked out. Because if you think for once that because you're a Black American that they're not going to kick you out, that's eventually what's going to happen. It's going to trickle all the way down to white people. And it is your responsibility to figure out your ancestors.
No, little sis, if I could reach through this phone and slap your hand, I would do it. No. Let's stop making it seem like Black Americans are at risk for any type of removal. Where are they going to send us to? Never Never Land? Never Never Land is not a real place, guys. Okay? It's not a real place. You really think that they're going to just get rid of almost their whole entire workforce? I mean, really think about this. So they're going to get rid of all of the illegal immigrants, right? The ones who work for dirt cheap. They're going to get rid of all of them. Then they're going to go and they're going to get rid of the Black Americans. Who is going to do any type of work? They're just going to get rid of everybody who's not YT? I mean, I don't understand, like you're just going to get rid of a big chunk of your workforce? Like that doesn't even make sense. I don't know where this sentiment came from, but I'm honestly tired of it. I'm tired of hearing it from the immigrants. I'm tired of hearing it from other Black American people. I'm tired of hearing it because it's the most ridiculous thing. Sometimes I be feeling like sometimes some of y'all want to leave. Like some of y'all don't want to be here. Some of y'all are hoping that you'll get deported, like into Never Never Land. I don't know. I don't know where you think you're going. I don't know where you think they sending you. But some of y'all don't want to be here. I don't know why, but you trying to manifest that shit. That's the reason why motherfuckers keep saying it, because you want to manifest that shit. You ain't gotta wait to be deported if you want to leave. You could do that on your own. Now, the other stuff that she was saying in the video, I think was nice. It was fine. I just wanted to address the point of look, y'all, stop saying that. Tracing your history is great. Tracing your lineage is great. But to do it because you're afraid of eventually being deported or removed it's crazy to me.
Tiny piece of the population, some of the most vulnerable people in our country. But Trump based his order on a report whose author has made it clear that his goal is to denaturalize and deport as many Somali Americans as possible. This is not about crime. It's not about safety. This is about purging people like me from this country. Minnesota has always been a welcoming place for people fleeing a home country that is blasted by war, poverty, and hunger. Europeans in the 19th and 20th century, Black Americans from the South, Hmong and Vietnamese, Liberians in East Africa.
Somalis are going through it. And some Black Americans are jubilating over this. Some Kenyans are jubilating over this. Some Nigerians are happy over it. It doesn't make sense. A lot of Black people ain't even talking about it. We ain't raging about it. It is wrong. This is the time to speak up for Somalia, to speak up for Somalis, to stand with them. Number one, if we don't do this, what does it really say about black unity, Pan-Africanism? We keep screaming that we want unity, but then we fail to love each other. But unity is synonymous with loving. Yeah? So this is the time to show our love for Somalia and Somalis, and literally like rage, literally stand up, go against the nonsense that's coming from all of these people that are attacking Somalis. We need to stop that. We need to stand firm with our brothers and sisters going through it now from Somalia. This is not the time to bring up old wrongs and things that has gone on in the past. No, we are trying to move forward as a continent. Yeah? How many things have you said that was wrong? We are moving past that. Yeah? Because the ignorance in the black community is tremendous. Because the erasure that has occurred in the black community, whether East Africa, South Africa, Central Africa, West Africa, has been stupendous, has been so great. Yeah? It will leave you in awe. So we speak out of ignorance. If you're Black American, don't rejoice and jubilate over your brother and sister from the continent going through it. Stand with them. This is the time for us to unite. If you're from Kenya, if you're from Nigeria, if you're from Ghana, if you're from anywhere else, even if you've had a bad experience with some of our brothers and sisters from Somalia, this is not the time. Okay? And you also have to bear in mind that they're using Somalia as an example of what they really want to do. Because if it can happen to them, it can happen to you. Okay? Yes, Somalia and Somalis are very important people when it comes to African history. And yeah, we may say some bad stuff to ourselves, call each other names, but it's still love at the end of the day. You know, brothers and sisters, we fight. You know how it is. Come on, man. Let's stand up for our brothers and sisters. Come on now.
So, you had this situation online where it's African Americans versus black immigrants. You have this, popular online movement, FBA, and I've done multiple videos about them. And that movement foments hatred, it foments division among black people. And so the recent example that we have is this situation involving statements that President Trump made against the Somalian people in America. He basically said that they are garbage and he doesn't want them in America. He wants them to leave America. He went on to say that their country stinks. He went on and on to make these disparaging remarks, and he basically said the Representative Omar is garbage as well. And so there have been some videos that African Americans have done where they have pointed out like statements that Somalians have made when it comes to being black, for instance. There are multiple videos on social media where Somalians say that they're not black. They try to distinguish themselves from other African people by saying that they're not black. And then also, I saw a video of this imam basically complaining about African Americans and making disparaging remarks about African Americans. This is an imam. You're supposed to believe in the brotherhood of humanity and stuff in Islam. But instead of promoting brotherhood, this man promoted prejudice and bigotry against African Americans by referring to, basically saying that African Americans don't know who their fathers are, that most of African Americans are products of one-night stands. Total nonsense, total garbage, total propaganda. And then you also had a video clip of these Somalians rallying behind Trump before these controversial remarks were made. They attended this pro-Trump rally where they're talking about they support Donald Trump. And then you had this other guy that did a recent interview on CNN responding to these statements that Donald Trump made. A Trump supporter, the Somalian Trump supporter. And so some people are using those video clips to basically say, well, we don't care what happens to Somalian immigrants. You know, we don't give a damn about them since they don't care about us. And I think that this is what people like Donald Trump want to see. They want to see people of color fighting each other instead of fighting Donald Trump. They love to see that. They love to see black people at each other's throats. When the fact of the matter is, this white man doesn't make these same distinctions that we make. He doesn't see any difference between Somalians and African Americans. When the police stop you and harass you and brutalize you, they don't ask you what nation you come from, what your nationality is. They don't give a damn about that. They didn't give a damn about Amadou Diallo or Abner Lawima being immigrants. They don't care nothing about that. There are multiple examples of black immigrants that are treated just like African Americans. So we need to stop this infighting. And it's a product of ignorance that's being promoted on both sides. Ignorance that's being promoted among immigrants to look down upon African Americans, and ignorance among African Americans to despise other black people. You know, ignorance perpetuated by groups like FBA, you know, which is probably a MAGA Trump front organization. You know, it's pro-MAGA. They defend MAGA while they have all these horrible things to say about Obama and Kamala Harris. And they're being exposed for the right-wing movement they are. They are imitation white supremacists. And it's just sad to see people on both sides playing into this bitter conflict. Now, it's one thing to expose the fact that some of these immigrants have effed around and they found out. You know, some of them supported Donald Trump, and now they're finding out how foolish that was to do. And it's right for people to point that out. But it's one thing to point that out, and it's quite another thing to tell people that you don't care if they get deported, you don't care what happens to them. Because the fact of the matter is, the same ICE agents that harassed the immigrant community are the same ICE agents that came to Chicago and harassed black people, black American people. These ICE agents are racially profiling people, and black people are caught up in that racial profiling that's going on. Just as Donald Trump, hates these Somalian people, he also said that there are other countries that fit that same description. And we know about the statements that he made about African countries, calling them shithole countries, called Haiti shithole country. But yet and still we're fighting with each other. And if he looks upon our motherland of Africa as being a shithole, what do you think that he thinks about you as a black man? So I just think that it's time for us to end the ignorance and end the infighting and unite against a common enemy. And the fact of the matter is, those video clips that we've seen of Somalians saying this and that, those don't necessarily reflect the views of most Somalian immigrants. Just because we saw some people on stage with Donald Trump, that doesn't mean that most of the Somalian people rallied behind Donald Trump or supported Donald Trump. As we know, Representative Omar is a Democrat elected from a majority Somali population. So, yeah, I just had to say this, man. We should not allow ourselves to play into division against one another. The immigrants and African Americans and other marginalized people need to unite against a common enemy. And that common enemy is Donald Trump, MAGA, and white supremacy.
So, brothers and sisters, back to you to the studio. What can you say about this? Because honestly, I think right now it's becoming so obvious that people are trying to use black people, and I think it's time that black people have also seen that people are trying to use them to get what they want. Look at all these groups, how they usually treat black people when they're not in need of black people. But look at how things changes when now they want the help of black people. They'll be calling black people and they'll be asking for the black solidarity. And some of them will even try to make black people guilty for not supporting them or not trying to talk about all these things that are going on. For the longest time, we've been having the Somalis in Minnesota. How many times have they stood up for black people? Like, if I'm biased, please tell me in the comment section. But this is just a question that I'm asking as part of the commentary that I'm trying to make, because from the opinions that I've heard from black people, what they're saying is that it is high time people learn, because you can't expect me to reciprocate when you have a problem, when you didn't do nothing when I was struggling. If I'm wrong about this, kindly, I need education in regards to this. But in this, as an African, trying to listen to all this perspective of the Somalis and also the black Americans, I think I'll side with black Americans. Why am I saying I'll side with black Americans? Because for the longest time, I've seen black people go through fights. I've seen black people try to talk to people, but people didn't believe them, right? They chose who they chose at the end of the day. But look, it's not happening according to the plan or how they wanted it to go. When we try to look at the social issues that are happening, for the longest time, the Somalis have denied being associated with being black, especially the Somalis in the United States. They don't want to be associated with being being a black person in the United States to mean that they are not black Americans, and they do not in any way relate with the struggles. They don't relate with the problems. They don't relate with the daily struggles, the daily challenges that black Americans have been going through for the longest time. You thought that black people will be deported? Not really. They can't be deported, and that keeps on proving every time. Right. So there's a person in the video, and I think I'll put the video, the last part. This last gentleman was trying to talk on how black Americans generally should be speaking about this, and they should not be quiet about this, because the common enemy is one person, and the enemy is Mr. Donald Trump. I understand one thing that honestly I'll say, I don't see any big difference between the Somalis and the Latinos. The relationship, because generally people expect black Americans, for example, with the Latinos, to stay together, to stick together, right? Because they are considered as minorities. But you understand that most of the times, I'm not talking about all the Latinos, but majority of the time, you get to understand that these things doesn't go the way black Americans want. Black Americans might want the unity, they might want the solidarity and everything, but it is not the same for these folks. And so this tells you that people only need black help when it is only beneficial to them, when it is profitable to them. But when it is genuine, like people need genuine help, you are not gonna see them, right? And so this leaves a room for debate, because I'm also seeing black people, like as I said, the gentleman who is talking at the end, he tries to remind the black people that you need to understand one thing. We have a common enemy, and the common enemy is Mr. Donald Trump. But people need to understand one thing. Black Americans are different. And anybody who's thinking that the black Americans are going to be deported, I think it's a lie. Because if black Americans were to be deported, honestly, Mr. Donald Trump would have started with them. Because I know for the longest time that the pressure, the political power that black Americans have towards changing the dynamics when it comes to politics in the United States, but we still have the black Americans in the United States until right now. And so that tells you a lot of things that you need to understand, a lot of things that you need to know, right? And so while I was watching this video, I really thought about, sharing my thoughts in regards to this. And so I've laid my verdict in regards to this, brothers and sisters. Please let me know what you think about this video. As you know, I'm your host and presenter RAGED Stories, but until then, I'm hoping to see you on my next video. Stay safe, stay tuned, And I'll be back with some more episode, more educative content that we can discuss all these things that are happening across the world. So until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute. And bye-bye. Keep safe.